Well, I'd like to welcome y'all to day 25 of the Georgia legislative session. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. We will meet tomorrow morning at 10:30. Tomorrow morning at 10:30 and Thursday morning at 10:30. So mark your calendars for tomorrow and Thursday at 10:30. So I'm going to ask Representative Mac Jackson if he would open us with prayer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, today we come before you, and we thank you for this day, Lord. And Father, we ask for your leading, your guidance. Give us wisdom, give us knowledge, that we might do the business for the people of the state of Georgia. And because of your grace and your mercy, we'll give you praise, honor, and glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, sir. I hope that's not catching. Yeah, I know, I saw that. Yeah. Just a little heads up and some information you might be interested in. Thus far, we've passed somewhere between 75 and 85 bills, somewhere in there. And we've had over 600 dropped, 635 we're going to listen to today. And it's like I told you in the beginning, if your bill doesn't make it to the floor, there's probably two reasons why. It may be held for next year, or it may have to wait till the following year. Maybe. So, and it's nothing personal. It's just we cannot pass 635 bills between now and crossover day, which will be Monday of next week. So that's where we're standing on this right now. And when we are judged on this legislative session, we're not going to be judged by the number of bills we pass. We're going to be judged by the quality of bills we pass. It's important that we understand that we only let good bills out. But don't forget, we will meet tomorrow morning at 10:30 and Thursday morning at 10:30. Tomorrow morning we'll set the calendar for Wednesday. We have some bills that came out Friday we want to take a look at, and we'll take a look at those, and then we'll decide which one will be on the calendar for Wednesday. Is Representative Gullett out there? Okay, take your mask off and talk slow.
That's tough for me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 334 is the result of many years, well, not many years, 2 years at least, of an effort among stakeholders who have worked to craft legislation preserving our traditional notions of notary publics, while also expanding the concept of the Notarial Act into the digital age. This bill creates a new type of notary public, a remote online notary public called a RON, and enables these specific notaries to perform remote online notarizations, whereby the notary serves as an official witness by attending a signing through communication technology, which is a compliant technology video conference. It also permits remote online notaries to perform electronic in-person notarizations, where the notary serves as the official witness to signatures on documents that are executed in the physical presence of a notary. I want to note that the language also in this bill strengthens closing attorneys from being threatened by the unlicensed practice of law. For the first time, our real estate attorneys and our citizens get the appropriate remedy to seek if consumers are damaged where non-lawyers illegally convey real estate. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, I see no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, Representative Belton. He's not here. Okay, I guess he's flying in. Oh, okay, here he comes.
He hadn't been cleared for landing yet.
Were you cleared for landing?
Just barely, sir.
You don't take your mask off so we can hear? Thank you, sir. House Bill 32.
Yes, sir. House Bill 32 is a bill that passed the entire House last year. It's a teacher tax credit that gives teachers, selected teachers, 1,000 maximum, the ability to get a $3,000 for 5-year tax credit if they teach at a very rural or a needs improvement school.
Okay. I see no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, Representative Cantrell. He'll discuss House Bill 44 and House Bill 60.
Thank you, Chairman Smith. I bring House Bill 44. It's a very simple, straightforward bill which would take our state to permanent daylight saving time pending congressional approval.
Okay. I see no questions. House Bill 60.
House Bill 60 would create personal education plan accounts for certain qualified students so that the state funding for their education could be used for other approved educational services.
Okay. See no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Chairman Carson, could you come up here, please, sir? Okay. Is Representative or Chairman Rich out there yet? Oh, okay, she's working on something. Representative Wilensky, House Bill 117. I know he's here, or was.
Thank you, Chairman.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. Today I present House Bill 117. Last year we passed a bill that created a low THC oil patent registry, and we had 14 diseases. One of them is Crohn's. This adds ulcerative colitis. Ulcerative colitis and Crohn's, the foundation is called Crohn's and colitis because they're so similar. This came to me because somebody was diagnosed with Crohn's, was on THC oil and was helping, but then the doctor said, you know what, it's actually ulcerative colitis, and was no longer able to use it. So this is an easy fix, and thank you, Chair.
Okay, see no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Representative or Chairman Parsons. House Bill 159.
Thank you, Chairman and ladies and gentlemen of the committee. House Bill 159 establishes in code the State Cybersecurity Review Board, and primarily what it does is reviews the cybersecurity of all the agencies and promotes best practices and provides an audit and training for the agencies in the state.
Okay, see no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Representative Momtahan.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning? You have
I'm
a good
doing
weekend?
wonderful. How about you?
Yeah, doing well.
House Bill 302.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Chair and committee, we have House Bill 302. House Bill 302 does three things. Number one, regulatory fees can only be used for the regulatory activity, for example, an inspection. Fees cannot be used to raise revenue for the general fund. Number two, local jurisdictions cannot base a regulatory fee on the cost of a construction job. It must be based on what it actually costs to do an inspection. And it clears up a conflict in state law about how gun dealers are charged a regulatory fee. I'm going to emphasize that it does not eliminate the fee. It is charged in another code section. Well, that, Mr. Chairman, is House Bill 302.
Okay, I don't see any questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Wiedower, House Bill 322. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Mr. Chairman. Bringing House Bill 322, LC 41, 2860. This is a Department of Child Advocate bill. They are just cleaning up the definition of sexual exploitation for juveniles.
Okay. Well, I see no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Representative Gunter. My goodness, you're quite regular here to this session.
It's getting kind of busy.
Yeah, okay. Well, Representative Gunter has 3 bills, 371, 553, and 554. The floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 371 is a bill that allows for video conferencing in the various classes of court. You can do just about, as long as you follow the rules that the court has set out for that. The only thing you can't do is conduct an actual trial where guilt or innocence is to be determined. House Bill 553, this is an electronic conference bill also for the administrative courts. The other thing that it does is it allows for e-filing in those courts. They already have the software and everything set up for that, so it's no additional cost to the state. And House Bill 554 amends the Liz Pendens law. When you have a lawsuit filed that affects property, the way you notice people that may have a potential interest in that property is you file it on the Liz Pendens docket in the clerk's office. What this does, and it can be abused, it acts like a lien on property, so it prevents you from doing anything with the property legitimately. So what this does is it leaves divorce cases alone. It leaves the law the same in divorce cases, but in business or other type of litigation, if you want to file a Liz Pendens, you have to get permission of the court. That's basically what that does.
Okay. Well, I don't see any questions on any one of the 3. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, Representative Scoggins, House Bill 464.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, this bill only allows probate judges to transfer a temporary guardianship of a minor to juvenile court if they don't feel it's proper. That's all the bill does.
Okay, anyone have any questions? All right, seeing none. Thank you, sir.
Thank
you. Here comes trouble. Representative Carpenter.
What a blessing this morning.
Not yet. Wait till he gets over.
All right. Which one you want me to start with, Chairman?
You have 468 and then 577.
All righty. So 468 is a simple bill. Basically, it's a protection of small businesses. It would allow these businesses to operate during a public health emergency so long as they meet the applicable laws in regards or suggestions by the governor, so long as they're able to meet those and operate. So basically it would protect small businesses from being closed down if they can meet the protocol set forth by the governor during the pandemic. I think we saw all across the state that some jurisdictions decided to allow certain businesses to operate and others not. And so this would just protect small businesses, and I think it's a great bill.
Okay, so if the governor says all restaurants have to close, that's okay.
That's a terrible idea, actually. But no, basically it would just say, look, if a business, any business can operate so long as they put a shield up, make their employees wear masks, check temperatures. So if a jurisdiction
They have to follow the guidelines of the CDC.
Correct. Or
the Department of Public Health or the governor's.
That's correct.
Okay.
And any questions on that one?
I see none. Thank you.
All right. House Bill 570.
Hold on. Okay. Got one.
On the right.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Thank you. So if there's community spread in a certain area, because we have a pretty big state here, you're saying the local jurisdiction cannot put any additional requirements on those local businesses?
They would have to, if the business could meet the protocol set out by the governor or the public health, then they would be able to operate.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's right.
Chairman Sussler.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the gentleman's bill. As a point of clarification, I understand this to say to the author that you can't be closed down just for the class of business that you are. If you can meet all the safety precautions, why should just the kind of business that you are close you down? Isn't that the intention?
That's correct. So if Home Depot can figure out a way to operate, then the Oakwood Cafe could as well. So that's what it's saying.
Okay. All right, Mr. Wilp, do you have who else? Chairman Martin.
Buttons is back here. Yeah, just to follow up on Chairman Setzler's, to be clear, this is so, if in the instance where there was a high rate of infection in a certain area, the governor would handle that by executive order and set higher standards, and every business would have to make it. It's just all businesses that can do it would be created, much like Chairman Setzler said.
You're correct. That's right. It's just creating a level playing field for all businesses and nonprofits.
Right, but the governor still could do that at a higher level.
Absolutely.
To answer that. Thank you.
Okay, see. Have you pushed your button?
Well, it was already red. All
Okay.
the way down my road.
Well, pick up your phone then.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Morning, Mr. Carpenter. By and large, I think you made some very good points. The one thing I want some clarification on is the analogy. I think there's a big difference between mashed potatoes and 2x4s.
Oh no, they're both very important. Matter of fact, I would challenge you that if you don't eat 3 times a day, you may not make it, but you can live without a 2x4 for a couple of days.
That's well said by a restaurant owner, but there still is a difference between a serving line and a stack of lumber. So if you'd have said, if X restaurant can do it, then Y should be able to. Then we got apples to apples. And I'm just mentioning the fact that there is a difference in types of businesses, and a blanket, I think, creates a problem. And I do think that all restaurants should be under the same rules. The rules should be fair and if possible, usable. But I don't think we should open up because the hardware store is open.
I'll give you an analogy. So back in March, my county, they shut us down, restaurants down, and I went outside my lobby the day before they did it, took a picture, and there was 4 tables in my restaurant. At the same time, I drove over to Kroger, and they were lined out the door in line to buy groceries at the Kroger. And so what I'm trying to say is, look, if Kroger can figure out a way to operate during a pandemic, then a restaurant should be able to figure out how to operate as long as everybody's following the guidelines.
That's a little better analogy, food to food.
Food to food, baby. People got to eat.
Okay, let's on with the question on that. House Bill 577.
Yes, sir. It's just a DOT update bill. There's 3 pieces to this bill. First piece is just some clarification on bid proposal guarantees. Basically, it'll save the state money that if it's a smaller project and they don't require it, then they don't have to take it. It just clarifies it so that would allow small businesses to bid on this type of routine maintenance work. Section 3 is some update to how the DOT addresses issues within the public airport arena. Lays down some guidelines there. And then Section 4 is some clarification on speed limits, and if there is a area that does not have posted signs in an urban area, that it is to be assumed that mile an hour is 30 miles an hour. I'll be glad to take any questions on that.
See no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. Appreciate you guys.
Okay, Representative Washburn. He has House Bill 470 and 480. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 470 is just a very simple change to the Georgia Condominium Act. It is needed because of some late title questions that have come up when they were trying to close some very big multi-purpose condominium developments. It's a very good bill. It needs to be done, and I'll be glad to answer any questions.
See no questions. Thank you, sir. We got 480.
480 adds the registered interior designers to the Georgia lien law. It's basically a good bill, fair bill that just adds these folks in with engineers, architects, other people that are involved in that sort of thing in the industry to protect them financially to allow them to be able to file a lien.
See no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Chairman Watson. He has House Bill 477 and 586. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, bring before you HB 477. This bill is with our Georgia conservation easements and tax credits, just extending the sunset on that bill.
No questions. Next bill.
The second bill I have is HB 586, better known as the Georgia Economic Recovery Act of 2021. This bill is just extending the sunset on projects of regional significance, exempting some sales tax on our performing arts venues. It is clarifying a definition with concrete trucks and the mixers that actually go for projects. And then it's sales tax exemption on boat repairs, your major large boat repairs that they're doing in our state with like $500,000 or more. So that's what the bill does, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate any support.
Okay. See no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Representative Reeves. He has House Bill 511. This floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is House.
Oh, excuse me a second. How's your boy doing?
He's doing good. He's got no symptoms, but we still got a problem that we're trying to figure out. So it's just kind of one of those long journey things.
Well, he's in our prayers, as are you and your wife. Go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, this is House Bill 511. If everybody in the room recalls, in November the Georgians passed Constitutional Amendment number 1 by almost 82%. This is the enabling legislation based on the passage of that amendment, and it essentially sets up 9 trust funds that requires that the money that we collect as fees go to those trust funds, and it mandates by law that those funds be used for their dedicated purposes. It's called the dedicated fees legislation. There have been times in Georgia where that money has not been used for what it's supposed to be, although we have gotten real good about it now. But this puts it in law and will mandate and require that no more than 1% of the budget will go to its dedicated fees. I'll be happy to take any questions.
See no questions. Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Representative LaRiccia. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I bring to you House Bill 536. It's on page 2, 5th from the bottom. And this is in the Emergency Powers Code section for the governor's emergency powers. And what this legislation does is makes it crystal clear that a governor cannot specifically target faith practices, religious practices under the emergency powers.
Okay, see no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Representative Leverett. Go ahead, sir. House Bill 635.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, good morning, and thank you and the committee for consideration of House Bill 635. This is a bill that was requested by the Judicial Council and the Council of Superior Court Judges. It basically allows judges to sign orders and things of that nature remotely, even if they're out of state, as long as the order has application only in state. And there's a section at the end that also allows counties to move locations of court if needed for emergencies and other things of that nature. For example, a national pandemic, provided the county commission approves it and they take into consideration travel, and I think they can go as far as the adjoining county.
Okay. All right. See no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Representative Malloy. Oh, okay. Well, let's do Representative Rich first then.
Hello, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am here to request that House Bill 94 be put onto the rules calendar. This is commonly known as the Porch Pirate Bill. It has 2 parts. The first part deals with mail theft. I might add also, this has been requested by the U.S. Postal Inspector. The first part has to do with mail theft and creates a felony for possession of stolen mail. If a person is found in possession of 10 or more pieces of mail that's addressed to 3 or more people, then he can be charged with a felony. The second part has to do with the porch piracy. And this provides that an individual who goes to the threshold of someone's home to steal a package, regardless of its value, can also be charged with a felony. And this is to address just the increased incidence of mail and package deliveries to homes and the thefts that are following it, and is meant to improve or increase the safety and security for people in their own homes, much akin to the burglary, which has a much higher propensity for harm to a human being. This is along the same lines.
How many pieces of front porch robbery does somebody have to commit, or how many, and do they, if they come at my house, and my wife loves Amazon, I made a big mistake not buying stock in boxes. If somebody picks up 3 off of my front steps, but that's all they steal, will they still be tried as a felon versus if they steal 1 from mine and 1 from my neighbor and 1 more down the street?
They can steal just 1 package from your threshold area and be charged with a felony. It doesn't mean that they necessarily will be. This will be up to the discretion of the district attorney, depending upon the other facts and circumstances. And the reason is because, for example, I have for years had many packages delivered, and my daughter is home by herself a lot now, and we have a glass door. If she were to walk up and she came face to face with someone at the door, there is a much higher propensity for there to be violence and harm. So it doesn't matter the value, and it doesn't matter the number of packages with respect to the porch piracy portion of the bill.
Okay, who's number 79? Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I like the porch pirate piece, and my deterrent is 110 pounds with 2.5-inch teeth. But the first part, for clarification, I was thinking that the crimes you described were already covered under federal law because the post office is federal, and that obviously is not correct. Can you explain that?
Well, actually, there can be a felony under federal law, but they are unable to prosecute. There has been such an uptick in this. There have been crime rings developing, and a lot of times it's the former drug rings who are, or actually they've added this to their repertoire because it helps to fund it. So they are unable to prosecute, and when they turn this over to the state authorities, they are typically misdemeanors and are not prosecuted because of just the trouble that it takes. And it usually is things like checks, medication, things like that. These crime rings are targeting elderly and lower income people, especially where they have the mailboxes all grouped together because they can pry them open all at once. So each individual theft is a very small number, and this will allow the local state authorities to charge them with a felony and makes it much more worthwhile to pursue with their resources.
Okay. All right, I see no more questions. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Representative Malloy. Is he here? Not here. Yes, hold on. What?
The representative had a family emergency, and he's asked that I speak to his bills if you would so allow.
Yes, ma'am, I will, because I think you have one there also.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's do yours first, and that's H.R. 29, and then we'll do Representative Malloy's 24, 25, and 26. H.R. 24, 25, and 26.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, I bring to you H.R. 29, and this is a compensation resolution for Jakeith Robinson. This resolution was passed by the House last year, and of course, with all of the interruption because of COVID. It was not able to make it all the way through the process. Mr. Robinson is seeking compensation for a wrongful conviction in the amount of $560,000. And basically it was a case of double jeopardy where the courts did not follow the process, and his conviction was overturned because his paperwork was filed in 2001. It didn't get heard until 2014, and he was lost in the system for all of those years. And so the courts overturned it and admonished all involved because of that. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I see no questions. Thank you, ma'am. If you'll do HR 24, 25, and 26, they're all similar.
Yes, sir. On behalf of Representative Mallow, HR 24, 25, and 26 seeks compensation for wrongful conviction for a Dominic Lucci in 24, and in 25, Mark Jason, and in 26, Kenneth Eric Gardner. These were military men who were celebrating the night before one of them was to be married, and they were arrested and charged, and they spent some 30 years in prison for a crime that they did not commit. It was a fire. Somebody was killed, is what I'm saying. A man was gunned down on the street corner in Savannah. The witness said that they thought it was them, but as time went on, it was revealed that the witness was not able to say that it was not them. So at the end of the day, it was a wrongful identification by the witness, and they have spent 30 years in prison. And I was told that in Savannah, this was a very difficult time, and there was unrest, and these 3 white soldiers were convicted and charged because of the community situation at the time, and they're seeking compensation on behalf of all 3 of these gentlemen in the amount of $1 million, I think.
Okay. Want to have one comment, Chairman Stevens?
Mr. Chairman, this bill, is it not true, passed last year, and these were 3 veterans that, because of this, got held up last year in the Senate as we had COVID problems and did not make it through. But these veterans cannot even receive their veterans benefits because of this wrongful conviction. So I would hope that the committee would move these forward.
Okay, so if this wrongful conviction is upheld, will they be able to draw their military benefits if this passes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, very good. Thank you. All right, we'll start doing the members of the committee now. Representative Powell, House Bill 544. All yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 544. This is an upgrade bill to the COAM statutes for the Georgia Lottery. A lot of the members has been around here for a while. They know that this is a big industry in the state. That's the non-cash redemption games that you see in all sorts of places around the state. Back a few years ago, it was transferred over to the Lottery Commission so that they could scrutinize this. And this was when they went to online of plugging these machines into the terminals. It went straight to the Lottery Commission so they could monitor these to be sure that everything was being on the up and up. Now it comes to a time that we're trying to upgrade the statutes that deal with these companies. One of the sections, because this type of an industry, it raises over $100 million a year in revenue that goes to the Lottery Commission. And even though there's a lottery oversight board appointed by the governor, we have decided in wisdom that the governor needs to appoint a full board member to the Lottery Commission, actually 2 of them. One of them would be a member of the COAM
advisory board, the chairman, and the other would be someone affiliated with the COAM industry that would serve on the lottery commission. Redemption, we've gotten into this. One of the constant problems with the COAM industry has always been some of these folks are bad operators. They continue to try to pay out cash, even though that's not as prevalent as it once was. One of the things that we've talked about for years is instead of them being able, people that play in these locations and stores, of being able to trade whatever their points for whatever's in the store, we've decided to go to a gift card. The lottery is doing a pilot program right now about them doing the gift card, but until that, we're going to allow the stores, if they sell gift cards, that they can give out gift cards that could be used for any type of legal merchandise, not cash. The lottery, what they're looking at as a footnote to that, is that right now the pilot program would be that the lottery puts together their own lottery gift card. This would be one of these cards that'd be sort of like any of the points that win go on the machine. It could be transversed. The lottery would get profit from two different sides of this, and it would increase. It's estimated it could increase the volume of money going in $70–80 million perhaps, not including the sales tax that would be generated off of trading for non-cash products in the state of Georgia. Most of the other bill, as I go through it, it sets a cap of $50 on the Class A machines. That's these crane games and stuff like that. So it would set a cap at $50 for the prizes in those. It defines non-cash gift cards. And a lot of places in there, what we're doing because of the nature of this business, it's putting issues of due process into place. If there's any hearings, the hearing officers over at the Lottery Commission, the judges that hear these cases would be appointed from a panel, I believe of 14. They'd be appointed by the governor instead of by the Lottery Commission, so that there's no misunderstandings to give any rise to appeals on things like that. Awful lot of the language in here is deals with due process, puts them under the Georgia Administrative Procedures Act in a lot of these cases. And that's the abbreviated version of this, and I can certainly go into the more detail.
That's okay. That's okay. I like the abbreviated version. You can do the other version on the House floor. All right, I see no questions. Thank you, sir. Okay, Representative Dempsey. Push your buttons on. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. I bring House Bill 548, which is simply a compliance bill requested on behalf of the Division of Family and Children's Services to allow them to work in coordination with the Department of Public Health, which will assure that court orders are upheld. We will be in compliance with HIPAA and additional federal regulations governing the disclosure of protected health information, and also federal funding will not be put in jeopardy, so that we can receive all of those benefits we are eligible for Georgia's children and families.
Okay. I see no questions. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, Representative Williamson, are you? Okay. Representative Blackman. Push your button. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. House Bill 593, it's on page 3, second from the bottom, would raise the standard deduction from $4,600 to $5,400 for those filing singly or head of household, and then for a married couple from $6,000 to $7,100.
Okay. See no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of
Okay, Representative Jaspers, or Chairman Jaspers. Oh.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 588 is the work from the Freight Logistics Commission that Chairman Tanner and Dean Smyrie worked on last year. It creates the definition of a public benefit in transportation projects, dedicates the locomotive tax to GDOT for rail improvements, and we put the Commissioner of Transportation on the Ports Authority Board.
Okay. Well, I see no questions. All right, Chairman Hatchett, I understand you have a motion.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a motion that's an amendment to my motion from last week on debate on the bills on the floor. I would like to amend that to include the debate on House Bill 531 be 2 hours, time to be decided by the Speaker.
Mr. Whip.
I want to second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on extending the debate on House Bill 531 for the 2-hour time limit versus the 1-hour time limit. We got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. All right, so we'll have 3 hours on that. Got 20 minutes before and 20 minutes for the committee chair. Okay. Just remember, we will meet tomorrow morning at 10:30 to set Wednesday's calendar, because we had some bills come out Friday we'd like to take a look at, and we'll meet Thursday morning, considering we'll have some more bills come out that we potentially can put on for Friday, because I know we all want to stay here till midnight Friday night. So meeting adjourned, and I'll see y'all tomorrow morning at 10:30.